Hello.
You miss me?
Yeah, I feel like it's been a while since you've been around on a Wednesday.
Hi, kidder. Yeah, stupid Disney World getting in the way of Marvel Town.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's
then
not like
Lee's
you were looking
wedding.
for anything fun or anything like that.
I finally saw What If.
Yeah,
I saw that like last night. It's been crazy.
So, I mean, do you want to real quick share your thoughts on that before we jump into comics?
I thought it was great. I mean, we kind of thought that this was all going to lead something, but I wasn't quite prepared for how like perfectly it ended. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's gets me excited for the multiverse.
Yeah,
I mean, I think like Loki was like it from a storytelling perspective, like set it up, but then obviously, but this is like the chance to um, see what the potential is in having the multiverse be around.
yeah. This is sort of your first taste of it, and I think because of it's like in the animated series, I think it's only going to get bigger when it becomes that thing that the bigger audience is seeing.
I'm going to throw a curveball because it seems to make sense to talk about it here. But so Venom, Let There Be Carnage, shows you the downside of the multiverse, and that movie can now be part of the MCU.
I'm not totally against bringing that in just because of the multiverse allowing for so many different variables, and we could see multiple Venoms on screen at the same time. Like there's just so many opportunities. I mean, do we want to just jump right into that? The movie itself, by the way, it's fine. It's not really worth talking about the actual movie. The post-credit scene is what we're talking about. And I mean, I guess spoilers if you haven't seen.
We just saved you $15. There you go.
Yeah. But the post-credit scene, we see Venom and Eddie Brock see the news report of J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson revealing that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, like what we saw at the end of Far From Home. And so we now know that they are part of this universe. And there was like a flash of light that shows you that they were brought into this universe. So something happens that merged them. So there you go.
It'd be interesting because, without having Kevin Feige involved, like you kind of want to protect the MCU from Morbius and all that. So, but yeah, I'm gonna let you and Becca talk about Marvel must-haves. I'll have to get the phone.
Sure. Well, on that note,
hello.
Hey, Becca.
Yeah, let's talk Marvel must-haves. I guess I should probably share my screen with you. I don't have all of my individual items picked out, but I think we can get started with the photo. And
yeah, we can do a general look.
Yeah. Oh wait, I hit the wrong thing. Trying to share stuff with you. I'm going to share a video file, which I am absolutely not going to do. Oh my goodness. There we go. All right. So yeah, we've got the last week of What If. Well, I say last week in the progression of the first season of the What If must-haves. So I really like this shirt that we have here with the Watcher. Like I love that color scheme and the silhouettes. I don't know. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And then we've got coming soon. It's not available yet, but we've got the Peggy Carter in her stealth suit. I really liked this look on her in the show. So
yeah, like we talked about last week, the way it mirrors the Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and it kind of goes with the look that he had in that movie, and they match that for her.
And
is
then
this a Legend series figure? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you've got Vision. Zola Vision. What is the proper name? I know you wrote about this.
Yeah, I think they called it Zola Vision, which is pretty funny.
Zola Vision.
Right? That would be a fun show. So yeah.
Never mind, I'm not going to go there because it's potentially a problem.
Good
No,
call.
like have you ever watched so Zola's part of Hydra. So like if you were in a country controlled by Hydra, what would television be like? Like have you ever seen like what TV looks like in North Korea? Like what would Hydra's like morning show be like?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah.
I think that would depend on who's in charge of Hydra at the time.
Yeah, I get it. But like and like you're just sitting around having a cup of coffee and you're like, well, until next time, don't forget, cut off one head, two more will take its place.
That sounds like a what if episode that we should get to explore.
Yeah. There we go. Well, and didn't Kyle have didn't he draft what if Wanda grew up watching Japanese television?
Yeah.
So you could do a whole series of like TV in different cultures and how what that would look like, in the MCU.
But,
I love it.
Do you guys want to keep talking? Do you want to jump into the comics and I can come back?
Oh, I want to talk. We're talking TV, so I got to ask you a question about one of our news items before we get into comics.
Yeah.
There's reports that Catherine Hahn will be returning in a Agatha spinoff.
Yeah.
That really.
What do we want that to be?
That's the question, right? Like I don't know that I need a whole series with this character. I definitely want to spend more time with her, but I don't know that I need a full show. So yeah, what should it be?
Well, and like part of me like you have this theme song that has taken the world by storm, but like obviously for that to fit, it has to be a very specific kind of show. So like how do you bring that theme song into whatever this show is going to be, because they're not going to do it without the theme song, right? Like at least not, maybe not sing it like they do in the show, but like it's going to play in the underscore at least.
Yeah.
They have to have this song involved in some way. I mean, I'm not sure how they'll, are they going to go about this like being a musical sort of thing? I don't know. Agatha is a really complex character in that she is both a villain and a hero throughout the comics. So, I mean, there's lots of story to tell with her for sure. And we talked about this on Zacks of Life too, that this unprecedented storytelling or means of storytelling with movies and TV shows and everything going on all the time. There's so many avenues to tell a character's story, even if it's a villain. Whereas, typically we would see the end of a villain story in Spider-Man 1 and then see them just pop up again in Spider-Man 2 and not know what happened in between. And this allows us to see that through line. And I think just gives us more content that could answer a lot of questions and be a lot of fun along the way.
Can I tell a quick Doobie story?
Always.
So we were talking about how Disney has all these ways to share stories now, he's like, so we're talking about franchises, and he's like, wow, so you could have Marvel characters be in movies and television shows, theme park attractions, and even comic books. And I'm like, yeah, they may put Marvel characters in comic books.
They might. They just might.
80 years of Marvel.
I'm just saying though too, this allows us to avoid a somehow Palpatine has returned scenario in the future.
Yeah,
we can see how that character has returned.
Well, right, and don't you want that to see that? I really wonder if that story will be told in one of those, Star Wars show things. Yeah. Because they've obviously hinted very much that Grogu played a role. And so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I definitely hope we get to see stuff like that. And I hope that's exactly what they're giving us with Marvel shows like this in the future.
Well, and Mac, you said you don't know that it needs to be so musical with Agatha, but considering that Catherine sang the song, I wouldn't mind if they did something completely weird and wild where it is kind of a musical. Sorry, Ben.
No, I think that's I wouldn't even mind if it was just a Bewitched ripoff, and just was that 30 minutes of that every week. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not opposed to them. I mean, Catherine Hahn is multi-talented, so I'm not opposed to that at all. And they can put a really great cast around her. Also interesting to note that this could be a connection to the Fantastic Four in the future, as she did serve as their babysitter for a while. So just throwing that out there.
Ooh.
So when we talk about comics, I have a Fantastic Four movie question.
Oh, okay.
So why don't we jump in? We'll see you in a little bit, Becca.
So, there we go. So we started off with the continuation of the Darkhold series that we didn't get a chance to talk about last week, but led to this sort of breakdown into specific stories for different characters. And we start off with Darkhold Iron Man #1. This was not what I expected it to be, and caught me off guard. What were your thoughts on this?
Sometimes you just look at comics and you go like, wow, this is art that's just beautiful. It's inspirational. It makes you want to seize the moment. And then sometimes you just go, eee. And this one falls into that category.
Yeah, I think we should note, though, because I totally agree with you, but I think the art itself is incredibly well done. Like it's they're incredibly talented people working on this, but the images are just grotesque and so hard to look at. This issue was horrifying, like just more of a nightmare, I think, than any comic we've ever talked about on here. And
I was enjoying reading it, but I was ready for it to be over.
Yeah, I agree. And it's basically the Iron Man origin, right? Like he's in the Mark 1 and they're trying to figure out, how he can better the suit. They changed some things. Pepper's working with him and stuff like that. But to me, it took a little while to get into it. Like it was kind of slow moving. It was like, all right, we've seen this story played 100 times before. And then it started to pick up and get crazy and this really nightmarish thing. And then it was just like, okay, this is a lot. Like I would compare this to when I'm going through like a haunted house and I get through like 4 or 5 rooms and I'm like, okay, this is terrifying. I'm ready for this to be over. That's how I felt reading this one.
I am a sucker though for anytime you get old school Jarvis and Pepper and Happy. So
yeah, it was cool to mix, this horror genre in with the history of Iron Man. And I did like it. I liked the issue. It was a lot to handle, especially the first issue I read today. I don't know about what order you did.
Yeah, it was my second.
Okay. So yeah, I started off with this one and I was like, oh, is this what I'm in for today?
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. So our second issue is this ongoing Kang the Conqueror series. This is Kang #3. And I'm really into this story a lot. I just got to stop trying to make sense of things because time travel just breaks my mind every time.
So I enjoyed it too, but here's my question that made me realize. So what was the name of the character at the end of the Loki series?
He Who Remains.
Right. We don't get, like, presumably he has a real name.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. And it might be Nathaniel Richards.
Right.
Which would have implications for the Fantastic Four film.
Yeah, I did actually have this exact same thought reading this today. And our own Mike C has thrown out the theory that he thinks Kang in the MCU is going to be the MCU's Reed Richards. Possible. I think some people might be upset with that, but it's also not that crazy. So what did you think of this issue?
I liked it. I mean, it's you're right. It's time travel. It's weird to see. I mean, Kang fights himself a lot, and but for I mean, it's hard to talk about. You have some good Doom stuff here. You have Kang versus Doom versus Fantastic Four. So it's fun. It's what comics should be.
Yeah, and again, a lot of my time reading this was spent like, well, if Kang kills Kang here, does that erase other Kang? And then does Kang?
Yeah, I went through this and was like, nope, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, just don't even try and figure it out. Just go along with the story. I don't think there are any answers to time travel, so just go with it. And I've really enjoyed this series. I can't wait to see where or when it's going.
Nice.
Next, we had Avengers #49. This was the continuation of World War She-Hulk, and this threw a little bit of a twist at us. Did you Did you enjoy the change in where the story was going?
Yeah, it's very rare that you get comics that surprise you these days.
Yeah.
And I think we all thought She-Hulk had lost her mind, but to know that she was, because she's a Hulk, right? But to know that was all just sort of a massive setup just to become a sleeper agent is pretty cool. And I like this issue. They even made Atlantis accessible. Like a lot of times, Atlantis just gets a little like, okay, I get it, you're fighting each other again. But I liked it. I'm looking forward to seeing how this all kind of ties up. I mean, obviously the next issue is issue 50, so they'll do something, like $12 or whatever. But I'm looking. They took this sort of cute story and made it actually compelling. So it was a big pivot issue, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I am kind of over the politics of Atlantis and dealing with Namor and the Atlanteans and stuff. So when this issue opened with a lot of that, I was like, oh boy, I'm in for, just trying to struggle through 26 pages or whatever this was. And then it completely turned on a dime, like just went in a completely different direction, which, I was on like page 5 and this is called World War She-Hulk, and She-Hulk hadn't shown up yet. So I probably should have seen that coming. But I am happy that they moved away from that. My one issue with this is you mentioned, what is going on with Jennifer Walters here and how she's a sleeper agent and all that. But doesn't that make her guilty of everything she did as this Red Hulk who has killed countless people in all these attacks that we've dealt with in the last few issues?
Sometimes you gotta squish some lemons.
Yeah, the ends justify the means, I guess. But yeah, I did like this, and I am very interested to see where it goes, because it also takes a very strange turn in the last couple of pages, and so now I really don't know what to expect in the next issue. So, and like you said, it'll be number 50, so it'll be something special, that's for sure.
$12.
And then we have the Amazing Spider-Man number 76, this continuation of the Beyond era story that they are telling now.
Before we get into that, we didn't get a chance to talk about the conclusion of the Kindred story.
Right, it's very true. Yeah, or if you can call it that, I guess.
That ended, to me, on a whimper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Like, when you start busting out Doctor Strange and Mephisto, you expect there to be certain stakes that, I guess the end, the status quo changes. Obviously, Harry's dead and Mary Jane's back with Peter. But that didn't seem like it was that big. I kind of felt like coming into Beyond, like there'd be bigger changes.
Mm-hmm.
And once Beyond started, they changed things up. But I was really surprised at how that whole saga ended.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's still more to come with that Doctor Strange Mephisto story. And I don't know where this connects to what else is going on with Doctor Strange right now. Surprisingly, one of the other issues actually mentions that this week, whereas this one did not. But yeah, so I would expect more to come of that in the future. But I agree that the story that we felt like we were reading all year long kind of just fizzled out in the end. That being said, I am just 2 issues into this Beyond story. I'm really liking it so far.
Yeah, I am too. And which is when I started seeing Ben Reilly, I was like, okay, but no, I'm liking it. I don't know what's going on, but it's a nice, Spider-Man. You got to do something different, but at the same time, you don't want to be too different. So I think it's the right balance of like, where Peter Parker is at. He's sort of the typical Parker look. My favorite thing in this, I think it was this issue, was with Aunt May, where Ben pretends to be Peter and May picks up on it in like 10 seconds.
Yep.
And it's like, because that's how it would be. Even you might be a clone, but I know my own nephew.
Yeah, and even Mary Jane doesn't pick up on it. And that shows you just, how close Aunt May and Peter are.
Yeah.
I will say this is my pick of the week, and I didn't expect it to be, which sounds weird. It's the Spider-Man issue we read this week. That's usually my pick of the week, but I didn't expect this to be, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm really liking Ben Reilly way more than I thought I would. I think he's a super compelling character at this point. with this story that they're telling. And my one issue with it right now is, they're selling you on this death of Peter Parker storyline. And we know that's not coming, right? Like, he's not going to go out like this. Like, they're not going to have this long drawn out thing where they were fighting the UFOs. That he's not going out on a fight with them. Something bigger is going to happen. So that doesn't, draw me in as much as the rest of the story around everything happening with Peter.
Yeah, well, and I think they tease. Ben was getting his own series, so presumably,
right?
He's not. It's not like Doc Ock when he became the Superior Spider-Man,
right?
Where we all knew Peter was going to come back. I mean, you always know that, but like, at least that one took a while. But I love this cover too. Like, I mean, I've never been attacked by supervillains, but when I've been in the hospital, and that's how you feel, right? You just feel alone yet connected to garbage.
By the way, hang out at Avengers Campus a little more, and you'll eventually get attacked by some supervillains. Don't worry.
They're always up there.
Our final issue we're going to talk about is X-Men number 4, and I before we really jump into this, I honestly I really liked that X-Men number 1 that we read, a few months ago, I guess. But I feel like the rest of the X-Men series has been kind of pushed, swept under the rug as far as everything that's happening with mutants. And I feel like this is probably their best series right now as far as the mutant characters go. So let's push this one a little bit more.
This is my pick of the week, and I never expect the X book to be the pick of the week.
Right.
It was a sort of a classic one-shot Halloween story with Jean Grey taking the lead, but some other folks involved. Nightmare taking full advantage of Doctor Strange's death, and feasting on some New York nightmares, but Jean will have none of it. Then you have this great cover, which has nothing to do with anything, but it's a great cover. So
it is. It's absolutely. I love this cover so much.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I like holiday comics. It was one shot. We had that great whole Christmas one last year.
Yes, yeah.
And so I'm a sucker for those one shots, just superheroes having, a brief little adventure tied to a holiday. So, and I very rarely get to pick the X book, and so pick the X book.
Yeah, it's definitely a fair pick. I really, really enjoyed this. I like that it was
I just want to add, and completely accessible. You don't need to know anything about anything.
Oh yeah, you might be confused as to why the X-Men are living in a treehouse in New York, but aside from that,
Right.
It's very accessible. But I liked how this was used as just sort of a showcase as to how powerful Jean can be. Nightmare is looked at as this pretty big, heavy-hitting villain that can really cause some problems, and Jean, had no issue taking control of the situation, so that was pretty cool. I really liked this issue until the last 3 or 4 pages, where they kind of gave you some other story, and it lost me again, as the mutant books typically do. They just throw some other complicated story that either you're not reading consistently, or it's just so over the top confusing, and then that kind of spoils the rest. I mean, again, I still really like the rest of the issue, but that kept it from being my pick of the week, I think.
I agree with you. I kind of ended it where I felt it needed to be ended in my mind.
Yeah.
But alas.
So we kind of touched on Marvel must-haves, but welcome back, Becca. Did we have anything else that we didn't get a chance to dive into?
Did you want to look at the pops? We had the few of those pops, but otherwise it's all kind of the same. There's a few fun designs on Hot Topic if you're looking for t-shirts. There's one in particular where it's Black Widow and Captain Carter, so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah.
Cool. All right, so then let's jump into our news for the week. And we already talked about the Agatha Harkness spin-off series, so that's one of the 2 big MCU-related stories. But the other one is that Will Poulter has been cast as Adam Warlock for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. What were your reactions when you heard this?
Well, it's funny because I was very recently watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and got to that post-credit scene, and I was like, oh yeah, I wonder if Adam Warlock's going to show up in Volume 3. What do you know? A few days later, this announcement. So I was excited that those connected for me. But
I'm just amazed. I remember looking at this kid when he was in Voyage of the Dawn Treader and was like, huh, it must stink to not be in like the good ones. And then I first saw him again, not saying, not based on his, just based on what I saw, when he was in that like Black Mirror interactive thing.
Oh, I haven't watched that. I never actually went back and did that. I didn't know he was in it.
Oh, that Bandersnatch. Sorry, I'm on his IMDb page.
and then he's in Dope Sick on Hulu.
Oh, okay. And as Kyle points out, he was also in We're the Millers and has become a meme because of that movie. So
really, I don't even know what that movie is. Oh, he's the virgin.
Yeah.
In the poster.
We've all been there.
He's the
I would hope.
That opens up a conversation we should not have. Yeah, he's the you guys are getting paid. That's him. So yeah, I like the casting. I think he can fit with the character for sure. I don't see the need to bring in Adam Warlock right now. Adam Warlock in the comics is so concerned with Thanos and the Infinity Stones, and we're done with that story. Like at this point, I feel like there's no need for Adam Warlock, and I thought they would move in a different direction.
See, I have so many questions about where the cosmic side of the Marvel Universe is headed, because we also had that tease of those other Guardians, the classic Guardians, which kind of Shang-Chi kind of screwed that whole thing up. With Michelle Yeoh, but
oh yeah, yeah, they did. Well, they've also got is it Gemma? Am I saying her name right? Gemma Chan in both Eternals and
Captain Marvel.
In Captain Marvel.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see, before the sort of James Gunn challenges. There's talk about like kind of that, like it'd be the 3 Guardians films, and that would spin off into sort of more cosmic adventures. So I'm curious to see, and Adam could be a big part of that because he's probably cheaper than Chris Pratt. I mean, not to disrespect his We Are the Millers money, but
yeah, I think he did that movie for free. Yeah, I am excited. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, someone wants a model.
Yeah, I don't know how to full screen myself, but yes. Oh, there you go. Yeah. I don't know where this shirt came from. It's just Invincible Iron Man. Classic comic book look. I couldn't tell you where I got it. It's very old.
What's next?
Speaking of the MCU and the Eternals, we got some Eternals character posters, and then also learned that tickets are now on sale for Eternals. So, start planning your trip to the theater for opening night. What I guess technically November 4th, the Thursday. So, I mean, next big MCU movie is right around the corner.
We bought our tickets.
I think it's safe to say at this point that on the next issue of Marvel Time, you'll be able to share your social reaction to the film.
Yeah, I guess I will. I'm not sure the exact timing, but yeah, should be able to share.
The social embargo is Monday night.
Okay.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, so just a little bit of Eternals talk next week, I guess. I'll it's going to be one of those where, and I have such a long time before the movie comes out, so I'm just going to be biting my tongue for like 3 weeks.
You don't have to go.
I think he does.
I'm pretty locked in at this point. I'm in. Outside of the MCU, we got a trailer for the new Guardians of the Galaxy game, and here's just a look at some of the classic, some classic, some new character looks that you can get in the game. You can obviously customize and change so many things that don't need to be changed in a video game. But there's so many customizable features. And again, you can see the trailer on laughingplace.com right now. The game looks like a lot of fun, especially just being Star-Lord and flying around and shooting. Just looks like it's just a wild button mash kind of adventure game.
And Cosmo has puppies.
Aww.
Was that in the trailer? Did I miss that? Oh man!
I think there's a separate video too.
Yeah, there's like a Cosmo has puppies trailer. I mean, not.
Oh, okay.
Puppies, but Cosmo with puppies trailer.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to go look for that as soon as we wrap up here because I have not seen that yet. More in Becca's wheelhouse here. We got the Marvel Design Vault revealed some Cap variant T-shirts. And actually all sorts of merchandise. There's phone cases and accessories and things like that. So, but yeah, so you can get all these different, alternate universe, Black Cat, Miles Morales, Moon Knight as Captain America. So some really cool designs on there. And again, you can see all that on Laughing Place as well. Then jumping back into some comic book news, we had X-Men Legends number 11. We learned will feature the Apocalypse looking for his new Horseman, and that'll be coming in January. And then in February, we'll get X-Men Legends number 12, which will feature Chris Claremont writing, returning to X-Men fame. Although I guess he did a bunch of X-Men adjacent comics more so than actual X-Men, but still really cool that he's returning to write about these classic characters. So that should be a lot of fun. We already talked about Ben Reilly and Spider-Man, everything that's going on there, but Amazing Spider-Man number 85 will be coming in January, and they've pushed this as this is when he'll be taking up the mantle of Spider-Man. We're at number 76 right now. I kind of feel like he's already done that. So apparently there's 9 issues of not him being Spider-Man. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It'll be
amazing.
And then finally, in Death of Doctor Strange, we found out, big surprise here, we're going to find out who the murderer is in the finale of this series. I think we kind of expected that. Interesting to point out, though, we talked about, he does come through a door, so I don't know, maybe. We talked about this cover a few weeks back when they revealed it, but with just the silhouette. So we didn't know who this was on this cover. Turns out it's just Doctor Strange. Kind of feels disappointing to me.
I feel like that's one of those times when they probably could have just gone ahead with the the tease probably just doesn't play out right.
Right. Yeah, I don't think we would have pieced together what's happening just from seeing this cover in a story with Doctor Strange on the title. So I don't think, I wanted this to be Scarlet Witch, and that was, they revealed that when she was just coming back in one of the mutant-related comics. So I thought that would have been really cool, but nope, it ends up just being Doctor Strange again. So, all right.
By the way, did you read the end of the Trial of Magneto? What happened?
No, the last one we talked about was number 2, right? I think,
I don't know. I read Inferno. He's just there. No one seems to care.
Feels like maybe a timeline thing mixed up here somewhere. I'm not sure. Did we miss an issue, or I don't know. But finally, we also have Doctor Strange Bloodstone also coming out in January, a tie-in issue for the Death of Doctor Strange. I was really surprised, by the way, that the X-Men comic referenced the Death of Doctor Strange, whereas the other ones didn't. That's the one that I wouldn't expect that to feel connected, and yet it does.
Yeah, I've read a lot of Doctor Strange for him being dead lately.
Very good point. Yeah. So yeah, that kind of does it for our news for this week. Did we have anything else? It feels weird not having, What If or some other show to talk about.
I know. We got a couple weeks until.
We got a long while, huh? I guess you got Eternals.
Yeah, well, we can talk for probably about 30 seconds about Eternals next week, and then we have a few weeks before we get to Hawkeye.
Yeah, it seems like quite a while.
Yeah.
Although I'm guessing we will be hearing more and more about Hawkeye in the days to come.
Yeah. I would think another teaser of some sort will be on the way. There are quite a few characters in that show that we have not seen anything about just yet. So thinking
Pizza
there's
Dog.
more to come. Yeah, I definitely want some more of Lucky. That's for sure.
Anyway, thanks so much, Becca.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mac.
Thank you.
And then we will see you all very soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.